What's up, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about badge upgrades. So let's jump right into it. So if you watch my previous video, I went over how I allocated my attribute upgrades with regards to setting my potential over here on the left hand side, and now we're going to talk about badge upgrades. I'm not going to go deep into the badge upgrades. I'm just going to talk about them with reference to this screen when you're creating MyPLAYER and making your build. So based off of how you allocate your attributes on the left hand side will determine how many badge upgrades you get on the right hand side for each one of those four categories. So if you look at my badge upgrades, I have the potential to get 17 finishing badges, 15 shooting badges, 11 playmaking badges, and 3 defense/rebounding badges. Now what this means, and let me make this clear to you guys because some people may get confused with this, is I can get 17 finishing badges, I can get 15 shooting badges, I can get 11 playmaking badges, and I can get 3 defensive rebounding badges. But if I got one badge per upgrade, all of my badges will be at a bronze status. So each badge that you get has a tier level. There's bronze, there's silver, there's gold, and then there's Hall of Fame. So obviously the goal is to get as many badges into Hall of Fame as possible. But what that means is it's going to require at least 4 badge upgrades in order to get to a Hall of Fame tier. So being that I have 3 defensive/rebounding badge upgrades means I can have options. I can have either 3 bronze badges, or I can have 1 bronze badge and use 2 of those upgrades to boost the badge into the silver tier, or I can choose to just have 1 defensive badge and use those 3 badge upgrades to boost it into the gold tier. So hopefully that is a good example for you guys to understand how the badge upgrade works. So at the end of the day, even though it shows that I have 17 finishing badges, 15 shooting, and so on and so forth, that may not be ultimately what the result is for all of my badges in total. So that's just all I'm going to say there with regards to the badge upgrades. That's really something important to know, to just not get blown away by, having this high number of badges and thinking that you're going to have that many badges. I mean, you can, but they're all going to be bronze, and it's good to have badges, but it's also good to have either silver, gold, or Hall of Fame badges, because that's just going to unlock new animations for your MyPLAYER. It's going to give you a boost in specific categories. So you just want to keep that in mind as you're setting your attributes on the left hand side. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is physicals. So as I mentioned in my first video, this first series is going to kind of just go over my player build, the badges, the physical, and how to choose a takeover. So I like to keep these videos like short and sweet, so I'm going to try and cover as much as that as possible, and then we'll just carry on into the next video. So right here we have the physicals. I already have MyPLAYER created, so it only allowed me to go back to a certain area to show you guys. But as far as setting your physicals, when you're first creating your player, you will get presented with different pie charts. Now what those pie charts will show you is basically a starting point for your physicals. And so you have another 4 categories, which is speed, strength, acceleration, and vertical. So those are areas that will affect your MyPLAYER in terms of their playing ability as a whole. So if you know anything about the NBA, you know that there's 2 things as an individual that you want to have. You want to have speed and you want to have power. Those are 2 things that are really, I guess, like recommended traits that you want to have in the NBA. So if you look at mine, my strength is a little bit low, but my speed is there and my vertical is there, that means I'm going to have a decent amount of speed, and I'm going to have a fair amount of jumping ability. So with that said, I'll go on through all these little things and explain this a little bit more as we get deeper into the series. So let's keep it moving. I'm going to jump into the physicals now. So with the physicals, you get to choose your body type. So I'll try and go through this as fast as possible, and then we'll probably save choosing a takeover for the next video. So setting your body type, you have a few options. You have compact, you have solid, you have defined, and then you have burly, and you have built. So, and then you have slight. So I think the smallest you can be is slight, so that's more like super skinny players. Compact is like a combination of slight and solid, so they're kind of just more toned and defined. Solid is not too much definition, but you can probably say you're a little buff. Defined is just, you know, really muscular and really like well put together, more like the typical NBA like prototype like body style. And then you have burly, which is, you know, kind of just like big and stocky, like a, you know, an old school like Charles Barkley like type like body type later on in his career. Or you could just have a built where you're just kind of like, you know, Shaq. My guy is 6'5", so depending on how tall your MyPLAYER is, some of these body shapes won't look right. But again, it's a video game, so knock your socks off, go out there and just build your guy and do whatever you want. So for me, I wanted to create this and make this a realistic build as possible, so I went with the compact body type. Next, you get to set your height. My height is 6'5", but again, your height dictates your attributes. So usually shorter players, or, you know, have a lot of speed. Taller players usually don't have as much speed, but they have decent arm length, and, you know, they can block shots. So as you raise these levels up and down, as you can see on the left hand side, it will start to affect your attributes on the left hand side. So again, I kept mine at 6'5" because it didn't really affect my potential too much. Everything kind of stayed the same, so that's what I'm going with. The next thing you get to do is assign your weight. Now your weight goes hand in hand with your height. You know, nowadays you have these freak athletes like Kevin Durant, Giannis, you have like Kawhi, and you have these guys, LeBron James, you have these guys that are like 6'8", you know, 260 with long wingspans. Or you have guys like Kevin Durant, who's like 7 foot and probably barely weighs 200 pounds. So you wanna keep that in mind when you're setting your weight. So similar to the height, when you start adjusting the weight, it will start to affect your physical. So as you can see, as I start to raise the weight, my strength starts to go up, and then if I start to lower it back down to 205, it goes back down. So remember, your height affects your attributes and your weight affects your physicals. So let's move on to the next thing. We got wingspan. Now your wingspan is going to affect a lot of things too. It's going to affect your shooting, but it may also give you a boost on the defensive end, because if you have long arms, now you can grab rebounds, now you can get steals, you can play in the passing lane, and you can do those types of things. So kind of want to take that with a grain of salt and make sure that your wingspan kind of fits your body type so that you don't lose attributes. Because again, if you lower it or raise it, you'll start to see on the left hand side that you'll start to get pluses and minuses in different categories based off of where your wingspan is. I didn't want it to affect mine too much, so this is where I kept mine. But that's going to be it for this video. Tune into my next video where I will go over the different types of takeovers. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. Just stick around for the next video and we'll get into choosing a takeover. See you there.